Ouch. Ouch.
Henry, how are you?
Hey there, how are you?
I'm excellent. Thank you for joining me again. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I can't imagine how busy your schedule is. Um, you know, I wanted to ask you: is there any part of your filmography that you think is underappreciated or maybe underrated, the way you see it? Maybe not the way I see it, but the way you see it.
Well, that's a good question. That's a loaded question. Now, now you get a peek into my ego. No, I think I don't know. I think I did some kind of interesting films in the '90s, kind of in the independent scene, and a lot of those films kind of came and went with little or no audience vindication there.
Yeah.
So, like films, kind of that I guess you would call the New York indie film bubble of the '90s, with companies like the Shooting Gallery. I did a film called Niagara with Robin Tunney, and that film actually, we went to Venice, and Robin Tunney won an acting award. She won the Venice Lion for her performance in that.
She's amazing.
Yeah, she's great, and what a great role for her. The character of Marcy in Niagara. It's just a lot for her to play around with, and she did a great job.
That's an awesome answer, man.
But that film, Niagara, there was a couple other films. There was a film called A Good Baby, and a film called Fever. Yeah, kind of interesting. None of them really, they got some good reviews, and that was about it.
Yeah, but still important nonetheless, right? Because I feel like actors always have those films that are like not that they love more than most, but like, man, I was really proud of that. That could have gone to another level potentially, but I'm proud of that still.
Yeah, and I think that happens a lot because the nature of the business and everything, it's very transient, and when you do get something that you feel like, as an actor, you feel like you can really do something with the part, or you can get a lot of miles out of it, then those things stay close to your heart because you don't get those opportunities that often.
Right.
When you usually you think, oh, if I'm working with on a big production, right, I'll have more opportunities as an actor. No, you have less opportunities because they're all the cooks in the kitchen, and they want you to play the sheet music. That's just play the notes.
Yeah.
Don't do anything else, and we're gonna paint you a very specific color and put you in our menagerie here, but you're not really allowed that much creative freedom with things, as opposed to something like, if you do a smaller independent thing, you usually have a little bit more say in how the character is portrayed.
Yeah, I have a few questions about some of your entries in your filmography. Then I'm going to get into some Comic-Con business that I'm really excited for, beyond belief.
Yeah.
My daughter's first Comic-Con, and you're going to be I'll get there. I'm beyond psyched for this, so I'm going to get there. So, just for those listening, the Fall of the House of Usher, your Frederick, phenomenal character. The Midnight Club, more of a fun role with Freedom Jack. Midnight Mass, Ed Flynn, Ed and Andy's Report. You are so good at relationships, by the way, is on screen. I just want to say that.
Yeah, on screen. Okay.
No, that's not.
No, no, I mean, all of these characters that Mike Flanagan has kind of thrown my way, they're so rich, and there's so much to delve into with all of them. So all of those projects were so much fun.
Yeah. And then we talked, Henry, about, The Haunting of Hill House, Bly Manor. I think about Hugh Crane every day as a dad. Like that is, you have a lot of favorite works for me. That might take the cake, because just he is fatherhood. He is fatherhood, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, he gets kind of a bad rap in the beginning of the show, but
yeah.
When you look at the whole picture of who he was and what he was doing, he's a real hero.
Yeah.
So it's such an honor to be able to embody a character like that, and then years later hear someone like you that it really resonated with, and it's very nice.
You are called the MVP of the Flaniverse. You are obviously connected to Mike, but I want to tell you, I went to go see The Life of Chuck, and I really wanted you to be in that. So this is like, I could not figure out how to phrase this question. I couldn't figure it out, but like, because you guys have such a great rapport, like how does that work? Like, where maybe like you saw or read The Life of Chuck, and you're like, because he has so many characters he uses, often actors that are so wonderful, and obviously you being at the top of that list. But is there how does that work with like, I don't know how to phrase it, but I wanted you in The Life of Chuck. Does he ever have that discussion with you? How does that work?
No, I mean, it's funny because when I first worked with Mike, he said, oh, I want to put you in everything that I do. And I thought, oh, here we go. Hollywood Promise number 385, I'm gonna work with you again. And then he did, and it was really wonderful to have that kind of working relationship with somebody, because I had never had that in my career. I had worked with a couple of directors, a second time, but I had never really, I'd never really been firmly fixed in some director's universe the way I was with Mike. So when the phone didn't ring for Life of Chuck, I have to admit, there was a part of me, I was like, oh, I guess that's the end of the run, which it very well may be, but it's interesting because I feel so grateful for all the roles that I have had in the things that he's done. And I think Micah's also, he's kind of stretching his wings right now, because he's enjoying for the first time, I think, in his career, the ability to go out and basically get whoever he wants, or ask for bigger things that he wasn't able to get before.
Yeah. I don't think you're done in the Flaniverse. I was like,
no,
I purposely didn't look. I'm like, please have Henry be it, please. So, but there was there was three roles I saw you. There was three different roles I could have seen you in.
Yeah, I mean, usually Mike will call me like towards the end of the casting process, and I guess I'm like in the reserves, and he's like, okay, I've got this role and I've got this role. We've seen you do this before, but maybe this is more interesting. And so that's usually how the casting process has worked.
Yeah.
With he and I, but I mean, great things are happening for him, so I wish him the best, and
for you, Henry.
Yeah, I mean, things have been happening, and it's Hollywood is such a weird, it's a weird word anyway, because I don't think it really embodies anything that exists in today's industry, but we still call it Hollywood. But it's a weird thing because it comes back around,
Yeah.
You work with people, you work with them again, you see them again, and life is long, and here we are.
Yeah, awesome answer. Our first interview, I think it was 2020 or 20, it was right during the pandemic, and I was gushing over how much I loved Cloak and Dagger. And I'm not alone; it's
Yeah.
so underrated. But like in the last year, we lost such a wonderful human being. I'm talking like I'm part of the film, but we lost such a wonderful person in Dabney Coleman. What did you have? What can you say about him? What did you love most about him? Anything you wanted to say? Because you guys had such a great chemistry. He seems like such a good man.
He was a wonderful man, great actor. He was always very kind to me, and I didn't really have that much interaction with him after the film over the years, but he did often have dinner at a famous place in LA called Dan Tana's.
Okay.
It's kind of like an old Hollywood Italian restaurant, where the waiters are always the same, and they've been working there for like 40 years. And he had a booth there where he would eat regularly and kind of hold court. So I saw him a couple of times, I guess in the 90s and early 2000s.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
It's sad, Gene Hackman. Losing Gene Hackman was a big deal for me because I did a movie with him in 1983, right after the first film I did after E.T. called Misunderstood.
Yeah.
And I look at that film like the biggest learning experience of my life as an actor, because I worked with some of the greatest people that I'll ever work with. Gene Hackman numbering amongst the top three, and he taught me more about acting. I still reference things that I learned on that film in my career every day.
Henry, what is it about guys like Gene or female actresses, but like guys like Gene, where he just like what he has can't be taught in an acting school? You could teach for 100 years and not have what he has. What is it, Henry? I guess it's maybe the secret sauce that I can't see, but maybe you could have seen, granted, when you were younger, but like, what is that secret sauce? What is it just born to be an actor? What is it?
No, it's a very, very highly skilled individual is what you're looking at.
Yeah.
You're looking at the Wizard of Oz, except he's not behind the curtain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this is the thing. You couldn't teach what Gene Hackman has, but Gene Hackman could teach you a thing or two.
Right.
Because he's got it all. Like he's fully in control of all the levers and the gears and the flywheels and stuff. And he can tell you how it works. Now, somebody that can just do something and they can't tell you how it works and they can't explain it to you, well, maybe that's just, I was born this way.
Right.
But no, he was a very highly skilled, highly aware, highly sensitive individual. And, it's, I think, our greatest film actor, our greatest American film actor ever.
Yeah, hard to argue that. It just sucks because you and I are the same age, and like I feel like we lose pieces of ourselves, whether it's Gene or Dabney or Hulk Hogan or Malcolm Jamal. There's so many people. It's like it's just heartbreaking. It's a reminder of, hey, enjoy this ride while you're on it.
Well, yeah, it's mortality is a hard thing to come to grips with, personally and just, I don't know. I think just energetically, it's a hard thing to come to grips with, because everybody wants to live forever for the most part.
Yeah.
There's sometimes you don't, but most times you do.
Yeah. One of the things I feel like you don't get credit for as an actor is and part of why people love you at Comic Cons is the effect you have on generations. So I think I texted you this, but I am enjoying E.T. with my 5-year-old daughter. Again, it's the first movie I saw in a theater. And
Wow.
I almost feel like I made the film. I'm part of the film, but I'm not. But like but it has a connection for me. And it's like, I don't know. I just, as a 51-year-old, I get to share these moments with my 5-year-old. And I don't feel like you as an actor get credit for affecting generations, not just one audience. 51-year-old, there's a 5-year-old in the other room you've affected. Like, do you ever see what you do that way?
It's interesting because, E.T. was a phenomenon and it stuck around and people remember me from that. I'd say 60% of the time, that's what people recognize me from. But what's been interesting, I think, getting older and doing some of these conventions is that you really do see the generational effect. Like you see it in the fans, because I was surprised, but I had all of these young fans from Haunting of Hill House.
Yeah.
And they would come to my table and talk to me, and halfway through the conversation they'd look down and they'd go, you were in E.T.? And some of them hadn't even seen E.T. So, and their parents would know, or the older crowd would know, but I don't know, it's an interesting thing because, you're doing all this work. I don't know. I think a great actor said, you're busy, and then you look back and say, oh, I had a career. And that's kind of how it feels, because you can't really see the forest for the trees while you're in it.
Yeah, Henry, but you've reinvented yourself as an actor. I don't know, is reinvented the right word? But like you've shown people a side, like your story just now. You've shown people a side that maybe they hadn't seen, and it's. I mean, I'm living witness to this. It comes across so great, right?
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Well, I'm a survivor, and I've been around for a while, and I just, anything I can do, I try it. And I like to take risks, and I like to try different things in my work.
Yeah, and I just have a few more questions. Thank you, Henry, for all this time. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I have to say, even I rewatch it as a 51-year-old man, and my daughter, we're having these discussions. There's even a book I have that's an E.T. movie book that we've been reading as well. She's just enamored with it. But I noticed something as a parent that's so funny. There's a scene where Dee Wallace leaves Drew Barrymore home, and she's like 4 years old, to go pick up Elliot. I'm like, wait a second, you can't do that, Dee. You can't leave her home as a 4-year-old. But that's the 80s, man. Like 80s, you left the house and came back when the streetlights came on, like as a kid. Like that, that's totally par for the course. Now you have cruisers at your house saying, that's parental neglect. But in the 80s, that was status quo, right?
Yeah, I mean, she's a single mom. Her son's in trouble at school. She's got to go pick him up. I mean, I never even thought about that until you said that right now. But yeah, that's true. There would be helicopters now.
There'd be helicopters.
Yeah.
Is there a scene that you've come to love as you've gotten older? I'm sure you don't rewatch it all the time. I get that. But like, is there a scene where maybe you didn't appreciate it as a boy, but now as a man, you're like, I'm kind of fond of that now.
Well, I do enjoy watching. I enjoy watching Dee's performance, Dee Wallace's performance now as I'm an adult and a parent, because she does some really great things in the film. Like there are a few reactions that she gives that are just classic, and as a parent you can totally relate. I guess the hallmark scene, I guess, is the penis breath scene, at the dinner table. Right?
Yeah.
Where her reaction is just so great.
It's so good. And she's such a master she's a master of dealing with chaos. And as a parent,
yeah,
I like, I'm so envious of the way she did that on screen. Like, it's so great, you know?
Yeah, it's great. And things like that you can like I really love watching Drew Barrymore like now because she's really fun. Like she steals the whole movie.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Um
Yeah.
but it's just your perspective changes and I can kind of look at it objectively now, sort of for the first time in my life because I feel removed from it enough. Uh, you know, I have a hard time, like as an actor, because you're watching yourself and you're going, "Oh, that's happening to me. Wait, that's not happening to me," and it takes you out of the story all the time.
Yeah, and you know, in the 80s, it wasn't like cool to talk about maybe parents getting separated or divorced. So it was ahead of its time in that way too. And you know, there's kids watching this movie in the 80s, 90s are like, you know what? They're a family. They're not a perfect family, but god damn it, they're a good family. And I love watching them. There's kids that related to that. And that's what I love most about how this movie is aged, Henry.
Yeah, a lot of people around our age will talk to me about that and say, my parents were divorced.
Yeah.
This was a big deal to see in the theaters, because other than I think Kramer versus Kramer, you know, divorce was becoming sort of okay. It wasn't like, social poison, but it still was it still was regarded as edgy and not quite PC.
Yeah, such a great point. So let's talk about your Comic-Con situation. Are you in Knoxville right now for a Comic-Con?
I am. Yeah, I'm in Knoxville this weekend at CreepyCon.
Okay.
And I'll be here until Sunday, and then next weekend I'm up in Connecticut.
Oh, I'm so excited about that. So what's the most memorable thing a fan has said to you at a con? Whether it's your past, your whatever, has there been something that you weren't ready for that a fans and you're like, but I'm sure you've had a lot of experiences with that. So
yeah, I mean, people have a really strong. You were saying earlier, like you feel like you're a part of this film, E.T.
Yeah, I feel like
and
I'm part of the cast.
And well, the truth is, you are. You like, the fans created this fandom. We just made the show. You guys came and saw it, and you made it a success. So, by relating to it and it holding a close place to your heart, you are a part of it.
Yeah.
So, that's the thing. Like the film has taken on a greater connotation in a lot of people's minds because they associate it with, I saw this film with my grandfather before he passed away, or my parents. I remember, like yourself, it's the first film you remember seeing in the theater, and so it takes on a new light. And so I'm always moved by people who approach me and they have something to say. It's usually it's usually kind of personal, but I can relate to it.
Yeah, it's weird how I feel like I live parallel lives with you, because when I was younger, like I said, we're almost the same age. I looked at Elliot and I'm like, boy, he's a cool guy. And then in Cloak and Dagger, I'm like, I just like him. And then we get older and I'm seeing what you're doing in Haunting of Hill House and a lot of your current projects. It's like I'm relating to you as a dad. So in a way, I live parallel lives, and I've admired every step of your way, because I feel like, not that I can relate to you, but I just admire and appreciate what you've done for me as a human being on screen.
Oh, thank you. Well, that's kind of you to say,
Yeah.
For a guy that just goes to craft service a lot and, studies his dialogue, that means a lot.
You do more than that. So you're going to be at Terrificon August 8th. That's Mohegan Sun.
Yes.
Yeah. Has another, I'll end with this. Has there ever been another, colleague, actor has said something to you that stuck with you, like maybe somebody at another con, like that you were like kind of caught off guard with, another colleague or pro in your field?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's funny because I get starstruck, and there are people that I fan over, and I want to meet, and so I always feel like my career has given me a backstage pass, kind of, to meet these guys,
Yeah.
but people are really kind generally. I have to say, like, for a profession that beats the crap out of you, 6 days a week, most of the actors and the artists that I've met, they have a really cool, laid back energy, and they're nice people. And I think you have to be, or otherwise you'll go insane.
100%, 100%. And I kicked myself through a couple of years back. You were at a horror con with Mike was right next to you at a table, Mike Flanagan.
Yeah.
I missed that show. I was like, I kicked myself. I mean, I had the wrong dates in my head and I missed it, but I'm not missing this one. So for those of you that want to catch Henry, you can catch him in Knoxville this weekend, or Mohegan Sun August 8th. I did want to say, when you meet my daughter, we're gonna have you sign. We're gonna go to you.
Yes.
And this is gonna go into her bedroom, and again, you're gonna be her first selfie, and maybe one of the only ones, because she just really admires what you've done for Dad and for her, and she loves.
Oh, that's great. Well, I look forward to seeing you guys.
Yeah. So we'll see you in a month, and hey, happy early birthday too in September.
Hey, thank you so much. Yeah. One more trip around the sun. I made it.
Henry, you are so much fun to talk to. Enjoy the Comic-Con this weekend in Knoxville.
Thank you. I will. Thanks for having me.